All right, what's going on, y'all? Let's talk about Hill 2 as a whole. We're going to go over the remake, the original, and the market around this game currently, and why I am personally waiting on purchasing that remake. So this is tough. It's really tough. I gotta say, I really want to check out this remake of the storied Silent Hill 2 game. This is many considered to be the greatest horror game to ever be made. It's such a deep story and psychological story that there's so much more to it than what you see on the surface. It takes more than one playthrough for it to really sink in. Every pixel of this game is crafted so meticulously. Just about everything seems to have a hidden dark meaning. And to hear that the remake really has done it justice is amazing to hear, because there were certainly doubts floating around. I feel the developer Bluer team knew they had to do this one right, and luckily they came through. So why am I not buying it? Well, this has to do with a few different reasons. First off, I want to talk about the physical copy just not having a good build of the game on the disc. So basically, the disc is not great if you're going to purchase the game and go play it offline in a cabin in the woods. You know, most of us have internet, so it's really not a big deal, but in the future, it could be. And I'm going to show off this tool that I often use. It's a website called Does It Play, and you can type in most new PS5, even PS4 games, and it'll pop up and it'll tell you whether or not you can even play this game offline, which you sure can, and whether or not a download is required to play the game. And again, it's still no. So those are two good things. But here's the bad. So the person who tested this made a bunch of notes while they played the game. Stuff like, it runs at 60 FPS, but it does have stutters and drops. And occasionally audio dialogue and subtitles don't match, which could be, pretty annoying if you're playing it for the first time and you just get confused. As well as some of these other just kind of graphical issues like ghosting, white geometry spots, shimmering pixels, enemies messing up. It looks like sometimes doors don't open the way they should. Luckily completing the game does give you the New Game Plus, which is good, so that's included on the disc. And all the trophies do unlock properly. So there's a lot of good stuff here. This isn't a terrible build of the game. As you can see, it's version 1.0. I believe if you bought the game now and you downloaded the newest update, it's like 1.03. So it's not terrible, but it's just tough to spend a full $70 on a brand new game when you're really not getting the full game on the disc right away. And if you look here at this Silent Hill 2 Greatest Hits copy that I have, it has the full game on the disc. It even has some what you could call DLC that they only added into the Greatest Hits version. So if you bought the original Silent Hill when it came out back in 2000 whatever, you actually had to get the Greatest Hits version to get the full story, which has a Maria side story. So a little tidbit there. And the thing is, with these physical games, they typically go on sale pretty quickly after they come out. Usually within a month, I'll see a $70 game drop down to $50, sometimes even $40. So that's another reason why I'm going to wait. Not to mention the US physical copy is kind of lackluster when you compare it to the PAL version, where our friends over in Europe got this pretty cool, got a little bit different box art when it comes to the back side of the game, as well as on the disc itself. It has some references to some of the what's in the game itself. And if you look at the disc here, it actually says there is a hole here. I feel like this disc almost like points to the fact that, like, hey, the full game isn't actually on the disc, or like at least a good working 100% working version of the game isn't on the disc. It's almost kind of like poking fun on it, which I think is kind of funny. Not to mention they got this cool steelbook as a pre-order bonus that the US didn't get it all for some reason. And I also want to touch on the HD collection that came out for the PlayStation 3 back in like 2011, 2012 or so. And this only includes Silent Hill 2 and 3, even though they call it the Silent Hill HD collection when they could have easily added one in. Kind of a weird thing, but anyway, the builds of these games on this PS3 disc are just not very good either. There's a lot of graphical just misinterpretations, I guess you could say, when they try to make it HD, that a lot of like hardcore fans will say like it kind of ruins the ambience of the game, and I kind of get that, but seeing as how you can get this Silent Hill HD collection for about $20 versus the two games that are included on this, the original PS2 copies are worth about $150 to $200 each. I'd say that this is still a viable way of playing the original game if you do want to experience the original game. And this is personally how I first experienced playing the game, and I thought it was fine. The point got across, and I absolutely loved it. It's a fantastic story, all the full 10 yards. Though I will say, I played this back in 2022. Last year, 2023, I decided to purchase the physical copy on the PS2, the Greatest Hits version, so that I could experience that side story, the Maria side story. And since then, I've actually started playing the full game again, and I gotta say, I can see what people mean by the fog looking different in the HD collection versus this version. as well as the lighting just feeling more accurate in the original PS2 version, especially if you get some nice component cables for the PS2 or like just the ones that came with it, the official Sony component cables, and plugging those into an HD TV that has those component connections on an original PS2, and you're going to get a fantastic picture, and I firmly believe that's the best way to play the game. So I also want to talk about the pricing around these original games though, and why it's fine if you want to play this new PS5 version or the HD collection version, because as you can see here, if you want a complete copy or even just the disc of Silent Hill 2, 3, 4, you're looking at $100. If you want the full thing, you're looking at $150 to $200. I mean, that's just insane. And then, of course, this game specifically, Silent Hill 2, and probably the other ones too, have seen some pretty good price hikes within the last year. I actually bought this last year about this exact same time for $120. And as you can see now, it's being listed at $150 to even $200. And if we look at some of the sold listings, which there's actually not a ton of recently. There's only like one every day or so. You can see this guy apparently had 4 copies that he was selling between $150 to $200. And then this one sold for $210. This one was $218. This was brand new for $500 plus. Damn. You can see here was a bid. This one went for $173. So if you know something like a remake is coming, an original game, especially a game like this where the original is just so beloved, you can almost guarantee that it's a good idea to just go ahead and buy it, because when that does inevitably release, whether it's good or bad, that original copy will skyrocket for at least a month or two after it first comes out. So yeah, when it comes to buying the game, I mean, I'm going to wait till a sale. I may even wait till I get the PAL version just because I like it better. It's just paying $70 for a new game is tough these days. Not to mention, I only just played the original in 2022 and I've been replaying it recently, and I just don't think it's time for me yet to get to that. You know, this is many people just hold this game in such high regard, and you know, sometimes you don't want to ruin the memory of something after you first played it. Anyway, this is a great game, and I do think you should play it if you haven't before, even at $70 physical. I'll say if I hadn't experienced the game only 2 years ago, I'd probably get it, but this game really is that good to where I just don't want to play again anytime, because I don't want to ruin the memory of it, especially after knowing the full story of each of the supporting cast in the game along with the main character. Believe me, it'll make you think. So if you played this series before, let me know what your thoughts are. What's your favorite Silent Hill game? Are you going to buy this remake? Are you going to buy the original one? Or are you just going to emulate it? Let me know your thoughts. You know, thanks for watching. Hit that like and subscribe if you like this content, and talk to you next time.